Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. We're on the move. We're going to watch the sunrise out of Terrigal. I want to talk about how the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. It's like being in a tomb where there's no way out. They rolled the stone against the tomb of the Lord. There was to be no way out. They sealed it and set guards outside it. And there was to be no way out. But the good news is he found a way out. He rose from the dead. Now, dead in deep psychology language and Bible language is about being dead within yourself. You're not producing life in the way that you should, in the way that you could. That life is not being produced, and it's not being produced by circumstance. It's not being produced by choices. It's not being produced by the company that you keep. There's a lot of different reasons why. A lot of different reasons why we're walking in the darkness. 1 John 1:7 says, if we walk in the light, as God is in the light, God the Father, we have fellowship with one another. Fellowship. We get along with one another on a natural level, without substances, without drugs, without nicotine, without all this that kills us. Okay, we've got a hiccup, viewers. Hang on. Because there is a lot of stuff that kills us, and we just seem to bow down to it. These substances and things, and sorry about that. It's not good for anybody. Sorry about that technicality. Oh goodness me. But the darkness is part of the reason why we are where we are. Now, the darkness isn't the darkness that surrounds us. It's the darkness that's within us, our sinful carnal nature, which so many people are subject to and become slaves to. The sinful nature is attractive. The sinful nature feels good. The sinful nature allures us. The sinful nature has its temptations and desires of its own. And if you're not aware of your sinful nature, really, I'm sorry to say this, but you beat before you start. You really are. And you're just gonna allow it to slowly kill you. And the problem with that is, viewers, history's proven that our carnal nature will accommodate those movements, those thoughts. When we move and think, or think and move in a way in which we're leading to death, that means life that's really not producing anything positive for us, anything loving, joyful, peaceful, long-suffering, kind, faithful, gentle, self-controlling, amongst other things. Things that are not in order, the order of integrity and morality. We're going to find ourselves in a very compromising place with the deficit against us. It just is how it is. This is what the Bible's trying to warn us of. these things that work against us, and they'll work against us to harm us. Now, a lot of people are unaware of the power of their sinful nature and really don't care. They're happy to go steadily along in life with pain and sickness, mental health issues, experiencing some lust here and there, and playing the game of swaps and to and fro and just self-deprecation and self-harm. As psychologists have proven in their studies, one-night stands are one of the most destructive components of society that we have. It undermines all the principles of good, strong, healthy communities, and really it does produce nothing except self-carelessness, self-recklessness, and self-deprecation, self-destruction. In other words, if you want to punish yourself, a lot of people think they're treating themselves, but if you want to punish yourself mentally and possibly physically, if you catch a disease, go out and have a one-night stand. Now, I went out last night with my son and one of his friends, and I just spectate. I go out and spectate. Really, there's no other attraction for me except probably some pretty ladies or whatever, but even then, you never judge a book by its cover, guys. Viewers, ladies, you never judge a book by its cover. I'll tell you why. From a man's perspective, I go to the gym with all the heavy weights and whatever you want to call them, and there's no wisdom there. And so, going along, and I'm watching as the night goes on, the alcohol drip feeding into the systems of these people. I'm 57. I worked all this out when I was 17, 40 years ago. No more for me. Same old typical scenario. Drink after drink. People self-indulging in their madness. Feelings, self-indulging in their carnal nature. But there's a better way. There's a better way. Weakness in terms of darkness, because darkness is about weakness. Okay, when you see somebody walking in the dark, you know that's where they're going to lead you, in the dark. And it's not your responsibility, you rescuers, to try and bring these people out of the dark, because you can bring them into the light and their eyes will squint and they'll see all the beautiful colors and rainbows and everything, but I promise you they'll go back to the dark. People go back to what they're culturalized to, what they believe is a part of them. Unless the darkness hurts them in such a way that they're frightened, completely frightened out of it, and they want to turn their lives around. I mean, the best way to frighten someone out of darkness is take them right up to death. Introduce them to death. That'll get them out of the darkness quick. But this is the way of darkness. It doesn't bring you right into its horror. A lot of people are experiencing horrific nightmares, sicknesses, losses. They can't keep relationships. They're being told to go. They think it's a joke. They're getting body ailments. Their master is a drug or alcohol or pills or all of the above. They're getting opportunities to change the direction of their lives and they're not taking it. And it's hard to come out of the darkness. Some people will never, ever come out of the darkness. They'll die with their eyes blurred. They chose not to make the effort to help themselves. And you know what? Wide is the road that leads to the darkness. Narrow is the road which leads to the light. And there are few who find it. I'll tell you why there's few who find it, viewers. People don't want to make the effort. People don't want to make the effort to find the darkness, to find the light. Excuse me, to find the light. And that's another thing too. You don't have to make any effort to find the darkness. You're in it. You have to make the effort to find the light. And if you're not prepared to do that, well, you won't have it. I've seen dozens, if not tens of dozens of people, good people, be deceived by the darkness. They've had their lives taken from them by the darkness, by nicotine, by medications, by drugs, by alcohol, and they've been determined to allow that to happen. They've had their excuses, they've had their victimized Asian excuses and all the rest of it. I mean, you know, if you really want to die in the darkness, you can justify it. That's not going to be an issue. Oh, you can justify it. That's not going to be a problem at all. I mean, really, there's no problem with justifying dying in the darkness at all. None. That's easy. Join the club. Dying in the darkness is easy to justify. And believe me, people will. Now, viewers, we're coming to a place called Terrigal on the Central Coast, New South Wales. Terrigal. Central Coast, New South Wales. This is one of the hot spots of the Central Coast. This is one of the elite destinations of the Central Coast. It's a beautiful spot. We'll go and watch the sunrise shortly. We're about to pull up. I'm doing this for a reason, because I want to show you that if you make the effort, there is such a wonderful life out there for you to have, without the darkness, without the drugs, without the medication, tablets and alcohol and all this other stuff that people are destroying themselves with. There's a whole different realm out there. And I've helped people right across the world, women alike, enjoy this beautiful light that we have, this wonderful light that we have. And we're going to watch the sunrise, and I'm going to talk. Just let me sort this out.